I'll invite Dr. Hershey to introduce our delegation today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the presentation we're doing today is not so much on public health programming, but on some of the foundational stuff that happens that allows us to operate, which is in human resources, and particularly around recruitment and retention. In a few of the last meetings, I have commented on some of the struggles that we're having with recruitment and retention and the work that we're doing to improve it. And there's a request on one of the board of meeting evaluations actually requesting to get more information on that. And so in response to that, we thought it'd be a great idea to actually have a presentation here so the board can understand more fully the challenges we're having and some of the many measures that we're putting in place. So I'd like to introduce Troy Hasselhurst, who is our Manager of Human Resources, as well as Julia Demaniak, who is our Human Resources Officer. So go ahead, Troy.
You just took away my first slide.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hershey, and nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces today. As Dr. Hershey said, I'm the Manager of Human Resources, and my colleague Juliet, we work together in Human Resources. She's the Human Resources Officer. Human Resources fits within the Corporate Services Division. We report to the Director of Corporate Services, as seen in this slide, highlighted here. Public health sub-region districts is no different than any other organization when it comes to struggling with many of the market challenges. Here are some of the challenges that we're facing. There are and will continue to be talent shortages and increased demand for talent in the market. Many employers are experiencing skill gaps as baby boomers retire and exit the workforce, taking vast amounts of experience and knowledge with them. Often there is insufficient talent to fill important positions, which can impact services growth and innovation. Remote work offers flexibility, which helps to attract and retain staff. However, it also presents challenges to hiring managers while they manage relationships in the workplace. Remote work, despite increased awareness for diversity, equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, unconscious bias remains a significant challenge for employers in building diverse and inclusive teams. This impacts recruitment and inclusive hiring practices. There is greater competition for resources in the labor market. Candidates have more places to choose from. This affects employee retention as job opportunities are open and individuals can look for organizations that better align with their own goals related to compensation, career advancement, and workplace flexibility. Budget constraints also impact recruitment, making it more challenging as organizations struggle to offer competitive compensation packages to attract high quality candidates. Many organizations are also experiencing economic uncertainty. This is particularly true for organizations funded by public dollars, where shifting political landscape can impact available funding as well. So as you can see, there are lots of areas that public health sub-region districts needs to focus to ensure that we reach and maintain a full staff complement. These market challenges pose risk to the agency, which is why our organizational risk management plan includes risks related to recruitment and retention. Public health sub-region districts has encountered recruitment challenges, which we are actively working to address. These challenges closely align with broader market issues that we've already discussed. And before we dive into these further, we'd like to highlight the impact of COVID-19 and what that had on our agency staffing. You can see it by this slide. Over the past 5 years, we have experienced significant growth and decline in our staff complement. The impact of COVID-19 on staffing was substantial. Staff numbers surged in 2021 and 2022 before beginning to decline in 2023 as the agency started to recover and transition COVID-related efforts into our regular programming. The human resources team and management were very busy, to say the least, focusing on filling staffing needs in addition to doing regular work. While we saw an increase in staff, we also experienced high turnover. This was primarily due to the expiration of temporary contracts, which were available to us due to COVID funding, which was phased out. 2025 marks the first year post-COVID where we have returned to our pre-pandemic staff levels. We are already observing a normalization of our recruitment needs within the organization. The majority of recruitment efforts right now are related to backfilling employees who are on leaves, like pregnancy leaves and sick leaves, as well as filling vacant full-time equivalent positions that are within our budget. It is important to note, though, while staffing levels have returned to pre-pandemic levels, the agency now focuses on or faces additional responsibilities due to increased mandates and expectations from the province. This includes the COVID-19 response, respiratory syncytial virus vaccinations, and new expectations for emergency preparedness.
So it's great to see that our agency is back to its normal staffing levels. However, recruitment continues to be an area within the HR team that requires ongoing attention and oversight. So we're going to go over our challenges currently, and then in later slides, we're going to talk about the strategies the HR team is using and the agency overall and to implement and overcome these challenges. Within the healthcare field and for healthcare professionals, there's much more demand for these professionals. Long-term care homes, hospitals are busy, and that requires a lot more staff, which makes it a lot more competitive for us to get that to happen. Our agency has faced notable delays in filling senior level IT positions and several management level positions due to difficulties in matching or exceeding total compensation packages provided by other competing organizations. A total compensation package can include items such as base salary, bonuses, allowance, retirement plans, professional development, and benefits, just to name a few. Our relocation allowance offering has been shown to be insufficient to incentivize individuals to relocate here to Sudbury and our outskirt offices. We have noticed an increase in employees leaving the organization for other job opportunities, as well as individuals retire a bit earlier than anticipated. As expected, the pandemic took a toll on our workplace culture. People are tired and burnt out, and it is taking considerable time for the agency to regain momentum and move toward a more positive culture focused on the future and moving forward. Public health priorities and workload continue to change and evolve rapidly, putting pressure on our staff to perform and adapt. More staff are taking sick leave and Employment Standard Act legislative leave, which in turn triggers managers to continue the need to recruit. So those are some of our challenges, or our biggest challenges. So we're going to go over some of the strategies that the agency has been implementing and also maintaining in order to meet these challenges. So we've recently updated the Join Us page on the phsd.ca website to better highlight why individuals should choose to work for us. By sharing key information aligned with other organizations, we're enhancing our competitiveness in attracting the top talent that we need. We do continue to utilize our social media platforms and online job search platforms to promote and advertise current job opportunities. We are exploring the utilization of executive search firms when agency recruitment efforts are just not working to find those desired candidates for those important roles and specific roles. We are trying to maintain our relationships with our retirees to help with the time-limited support that we need to fill temporary gaps and support project-based work. We're currently in the RFP process, securing a company to complete a market salary review for our non-union positions. This will hopefully help us be more competitive in the future. We are looking to do a relocation allowance policy review to see how we align in comparison to other organizations of similar size. With many newer managers, we focus on enhancing management competencies through training, coaching, and development. This includes training in areas such as handling difficult conversations, health, safety, and wellness, human rights, managing in a unionized environment, and now managing in a hybrid work environment. We have been streamlining our recruitment processes, including the development of tools for managers to reduce time and cost associated with hiring. We are working to expand our efforts to attract a diverse pool of talent by broadening our recruitment methods. This includes participating in programs that support new immigrants and exploring new opportunities such as job fairs. The executive committee is intentionally committing to providing open and transparent communication with employees. By sharing the reality of financial constraints and changes needed to meet public health needs, we promote a better understanding of our current climate. This approach helps us work together on a foundation of trust and understanding, which in turn encourages employees to stick around with us. We continue to utilize our EDI committee and the work that it does to support equity, diversity, and inclusion throughout the entire employment experience. With the underlying concept that a more diverse workforce is a more successful one. Investing in our people for future succession planning continues. We are providing opportunities for employee growth and development, professional development, mentoring, cross-training, and coaching. We continue to have hybrid work and flexible work arrangements. This provides employees the flexibility to balance their work and life needs. Agency support such as this does not go unnoticed and is greatly appreciated by our staff. We continue to focus on employee health and well-being by anchoring our approach in the National Standard for Psychological Health and Safety. Currently, we provide, just to name a few, an EAP program, personal development opportunities, physical fitness incentives, flexible work arrangements, a hybrid work model, leave opportunities, earned time off programs, and so on. We'd like to highlight our student placement program. Our student placement program is very valuable to this agency and has proven to create a pool of prospective employees. Over the past 2 years alone, 61 individuals have completed their placement with us. Currently, we have 20 active staff that completed their placement here at Public Health. In the HR department alone, 3 out of 6 staff completed their placement here through the HR program at Cambrian College. It's really important that we continue to establish our relationship with the educational institutions so we can nurture that talent pool. Lastly, we are very excited to share that we are currently developing an RFP to assess and develop recommendations to inform a human resources strategy, which will guide our people, services, and activities over the next 5 years.
Public health suburban districts is a great place to work. As you can see, our goal is to be an employer of choice, providing our employees with an environment that contributes to their health, wellness, satisfaction, and productivity. We continue to invest in and focus on a healthy and resilient workforce to ensure that we are well positioned to meet the needs of local communities we serve now and in the future. Thank you very much. First questions.
For the presentation. Appreciate that insight. It affects us all over. So public health is just one area that is dealing with those HR challenges. So I'll open it up to questions. Mike and then Renee. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. Very informative. I have 2 questions. So how did the challenges that you face here compare with some of the other HR challenges in the other agencies? Are there commonalities, or is there something unique about this district that forces you to look into develop strategies that are unique to this area?
Yes.
I would say yes, we do share a lot of the challenges that other employers face. The ones that we presented today are probably ones that we're focusing on, or the more prevalent for us. But yeah, and in the north, I meet with other public health and HR managers as well. So a lot of the issues that they're facing are the same as what we're facing as well.
The other question I had was in terms of recruitment, is there any reliance on outside help like headhunters, that kind of thing?
Yes, in fact, we have engaged with a headhunter firm right now. We're doing that, and we have in the past as well. We don't do that routinely, but when we have challenges, we will. Yes.
Thanks, Bob. Mike and then Renee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation, and I see some very progressive efforts into recruitment and retention. I think things like hybrid work schedules and creating the culture within the organization where people want to work and stay. Given the amount of turnover, what mechanisms is public health using to understand why people are leaving? Do we use a survey, or are there interviews when individuals are leaving the organization to understand what their reasons are for leaving?
Yes, we do actually have exit interviews that we collect when people leave. Our turnover, though, has primarily been due to the temporary contracts that we've had, as well as retirees. Not that we have not had some resignations, we have had some, maybe slightly higher than in the past. But we do collect information, yes, and keep an eye on trends.
Follow-up.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Does public health conduct employee surveys that would help determine what employees like most about the organization, where there's potential opportunities for the organization, so cultural surveys?
So we have in the past done cultural surveys. We have not done one in a while. We are looking at potentially doing one again.
So Renee, and then I see Abdullah has his hand up, so go ahead, Renee.
Thanks. So 2 questions for me, Mr. Chair. First one is when we talk about recruitment, we have 3 very good post-secondary education. Do we go shopping directly to programs and early in the program? So I'm thinking dental, nursing, other ones. Teaching at a college, I find that I tell my employers that want to come for a paramedic, don't wait till graduation. It's too late. They've made up their mind. Do we go in the first few months of year 1 to start putting that seed in there to be able to, so at least a few of them start thinking of, oh, what was that public health thing, and move on. So, and as you mentioned, you know, in all the disciplines, HR and other people as well that we need to recruit.
Troy, go ahead.
I can certainly answer as it relates to human resources. I'm not responsible for the student placement program per se.
Okay.
Certainly with human resources, I am on the program advisory committee, so I do have a connection in with King Ring College. And we do establish relationships with students early on. There's individuals that come to that committee and represent the students and have been a supporter of the placement program my whole career. Pretty much. I do believe that there are quite strong connections though with all of the schools. Probably not the best person to do details.
Follow-up, or does that answer your question?
That answers my first one. I have another.
Yeah, go
So, not sure who to pose this one to, but so when we talk about adapting and changing, have we as public health looked at our right here, professional development guidelines, policies, to be able to adapt them to maybe promote that so that we can retain it, use that as a retainment tool for those who may want to grow within the corporation, but don't have the skill set or don't have the prerequisites to maybe move up. Have we looked at that to be able to enhance that much more to retain as much as we can?
Troy, go ahead.
Yes. We have a really strong professional development program, and we definitely do look to grow internal staff through succession planning, through opportunities for staff development, early identification of individuals that are interested in promotion, things like that. So yes, we do. It's been as long as I've worked here. It's been one of the things that we're often recognized for. It's the opportunities.
So a follow-up to that one, maybe through Dr. Urji. Have we allocated the same amount of funding, or have we chipped at that to lower it to balance? Because funds are that's our decision to do. Just wondering where we're at as that funding model there.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I need to look back at what the historical trend is. wasn't here, so I don't know all of that. What I can say is between last year to this year, we did increase that budget a little bit, both in terms of professional development, but also in terms of building culture, because we saw that it was as challenging areas right now and in areas that we need to invest more.
Thank you.
Abdullah, you're next. Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. That's a great presentation. A couple of my comments have already been said, but especially, partnership with Cambridge, they seem to be really forward thinking with partnering with the institutions to make sure their students have opportunities. But a lot of my clients have the same issue. It seems to be all around the place. People are having a hard time keeping their workforce full. A lot of my clients tell me, though, that the best way to ensure it is actually just retention. It doesn't matter if they're hiring on 2 people a quarter, if they're losing 4, if you're still shrinking. Do we do or do our best to have exit interviews in place to identify what these reasons are, especially if we had unplanned retirements. One-offs, maybe they just chose to retire early, but if this is happening consistently, maybe there's a factor in play that's causing these folks to recalibrate when they'd like to retire.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So the recent trend with some people retiring early was directly related to burnout. So people making decisions to maybe leave just a little bit earlier for their health and well-being. Generally speaking, we don't encounter people retiring. We do capture information that directly in as well. We do have to restore that a little bit. Human Resources is still working at restoring some of our policies and procedures, and so there will be reporting going to BC for something that we collect.
Mr. Chair, could I add just a couple additional comments? For those board members who remember back to the presentation I gave around our budget, I outlined 5 medium-term priorities of what we're going to do. One of those was around sustainability of services. And that was partly around our budget, but part of that is also that because we have more work than the resources to do, everybody is working super hard, which is kind of furthering some of those burnout issues that first came in place during the pandemic response. And so correcting that was partly with the goal of improving our retention. And then, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, another one of those medium-term priorities was to really invest in culture and engagement of our staff. Because if staff are happy at work, if they feel fulfilled, they feel like they're accomplishing something really valuable for the community, they feel it's a close-knit place and like a family for them, that's going to make them more likely to stay. So definitely, a couple things that we're doing around this.
Thank you, Dr. Ritchie, for that. Abdullah, does that answer your question, or do you have a follow-up?
That answers my question. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Ken, a question? Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I was surprised at the level of the student placement with actually creating a job and working here, like you're talking 30% or something. I'm just wondering how much collaboration is there between the student placement and the HR? Because it seems like it would be a very good match to collaborate and, groom somebody for a job down the road.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've actually recently made a slight organizational change. So there is an individual working now in our department that was sort of the coordinator for student placement and staff development. Yeah, so he's now currently working in human resources, but prior to that, we do have a very strong connection with ASS. Renee and I talk all the time, and David Grew, who was our predecessor for professional practice and development, him and I were best friends. So no, there's a lot of collaboration between HR.
You have another question, Ken, or is that answer? Well, thank you for the presentation. It's eye-opening to see steps that we need to take, or the organization is taking, as well as the uncertainty in the labor market right across the board. So all we can do is keep plugging away and making sure we're putting the right building blocks in play. I think with Dr. Hergy indicating, yourself, Troy and Julia, it's about making sure that it's a family and people realize they feel comfortable talking to each other versus silos where and disgruntled employees, that's where they tend to, in this labor market, they can say, thank you, I'll go somewhere else where I'm sort of valued, I can say that. So again, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.